This is a story about giant African American women superheroes saving Earth with their telekinesis mind powers, the ability to fly, superhuman strength, fiery breath, attract to metal, manipulate water with body movements, and air with the ability to freeze water like the cold winds of the Arctics. These heroic women have saved the planet numerous times, being the guardians of the Milky Way galaxy. They bring hope and assurance that the civilizations of the planet has someone watching over and protecting them from any event that may occur. They live and eat like humans, but they have a much longer lifespan than any recorded history of human ancestry. They are like half human and God, but their bodies are not eternal like any ordinary human. They feel pain and other emotions like the humans they protect. They use ancient knowledge to gain wisdom in cataclysmic events. They are well connected to the earth and live with wildlife away from the major cities. They also gain knowledge from the plants, animals, and the light frequencies that the human eye can't detect by just placing their hand on either or absorbing the knowledge through telekinesis. They each possess their own unique individual powers that they had to grow into as they were children. As children, they were treated horribly by others in fear that their powers would become a threat. They were not used to controlling their powers as kids and had trouble doing so until they became young adults. Some were constantly being in trouble with authorities because of this loss of control. Some were able to control their powers sooner than others, helping them maneuver through life undetected until they all met in an almost cataclysmic event. They had to face a gigantic meteorite hurtling towards the Earth at light speeds. They can breathe higher in our atmosphere than any human can possibly imagine, but they can't breathe outside the atmosphere for long. Their bodies can convert the toxic gases that will usually kill humans in seconds to oxygen. One night in 2015, these heroes all went along the shore of the beach in Santa Monica to watch this meteorite race across the sky before the city was aware of its possible crash into the earth, destroying cities, causing huge earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tsunami waves colliding into surrounding bodies of land. Each hero felt and notices that they were being watched. This eerie feeling made them grow extremely cautious, and before they could gather their thoughts on what to do, they were each surrounded by these dark figures that resembled the shape of ordinary humans, but did not have all the typical human traits like colored irises around their pupils. Instead, these figures had no pupils, with large, solid, light gray eyes. Their arms, legs, and fingers were very thin, with a creepy, serious look on their face. They didn't smile at all or blink. These dark figures had also dark hooded robes around their torso, and some stayed hooded, making them seem even more ominous. The figures asked each hero, will they come with them or leave the city for their own safety? Some heroes were reluctant at first, not sure what the consequences of either choice may create. Others didn't feel the ominous feeling of being led by evil entities looking to manipulate or harm them. Those that were reluctant went on their own in search for an idea to either get away from the area of catastrophe, thinking they were not able to confront this catastrophe. They each went far off into the rural areas of the West Coast, deep into the Mojave Desert and mountains in Los Angeles Forest Crest. They each received a message from either animals or plants in a dreams that night. Every hero had a unique vision foreshadowing an event to come that will change the course of history forever. These dreams woke them up in a terrifying feeling of alertness and caution. The ones that left with the ominous beings were taken to a humongous neon-lit ship with lights surrounding the oval-like shape of the ship. The closer they got to the ship, the more they felt an immense feeling of energy surrounding the vicinity of the ship. The ominous feeling begins to grow more than before, because this was an unusual feeling than they had ever felt before in their young existence. Most of the ones that joined had been undetected by most humans for their unique powers, making them weary of any slight sense of danger. Even though they felt this surge of instant power pulling their curiosity closer, like gravity pulling the moon around them. They entered the ship one by one through a huge beam of light, not aware of who they were following behind. The light sent them through a vortex-like tunnel, materializing each hero directly aboard the ship, instantly faster than they could even blink. This ship had tools, weapons, books all around the huge rooms, filled with never-before-seen technology to the average human on Earth. These beings explain that this meteorite that has appeared on the course to hit the Earth was no ordinary meteorite that possessed a unique weapon with immense power that can destroy planets called the Brahma Shirastra, making this an object of popularity all around the universe. The Brahma Shirastra causes chain reactions of massive explosions and waves to annihilate any desired entity of the universe or even the universe itself. Brahma Shirastra, the god that created this weapon, placed it deep within the universe at the center of the coldest planet in the universe to counter its fiery appearance and powers. This weapon was set free by a war-waging army of insidious, greedy beings of large stature and monster-like features, sharp shark-like teeth with dual rows, and reptile-like skin called the Gracchus. These beings also possess powers and use these as advantages to absorb and siege planets for their own gain for materials and power of the universe. These beings defeated the god Brahma, the god sent to protect the weapon, and they destroyed the planet Onyx, known as the coldest planet in the universe, making the planet shatter into small fragments, sending pieces hurtling through space. This war was being waged for over 1,000 years, and these reptile-like warriors have located the weapon through evil spirits and manifestations. Inyanga is one of the dark beings explaining the origins of these beings and story behind this meteorite that they are in search for. Inyanga is the god of healing, giving them the health and help to maintain a healthy mental state to fight these beings, not only physically but on a spiritual level as well. These beings are well versed in manipulation and deceit. These beings have the ability to shapeshift into any entity's vessel, to mimic, deceive, and manipulate the chosen beings of the light. There are 4 chosen light heroes in the ship, learning from these dark-figured elder gods. These elder gods have been around for over trillions of years, traveling through the universe in water-like portals that interconnect parallel universes. These others elder gods are here to protect all universes and civilizations, to preserve interconnected peace. These beings ask for these 4 heroes to first try to gather the other 3 light hero beings to help with their destiny to defeat these Gracchus, or else fate for all civilizations from all universes may be at an inevitable end. Each hero has begun acquainting with each other to gain a connection to further bond them to a task that may change the future for everyone involved. They each show their powers and explain some of their life experiences, since neither of the heroes were aware of others with hidden powers like themselves. Once they were each further acquainted, they set off in search for the other 3 heroes. The 4 names of these heroes are Jade with the power of telekinesis, Naraya with power of metal electricity manipulation, Mika the power of water manipulation, and Natahi with power to manipulate air winds. These heroes were given a special sense that they have to train harder to use to their advantage to keep an interconnected feeling between the 7 heroes. This sense helps them gain an idea of where each hero's power is coming from and grow stronger the closer they get to each hero. The first hero they found was Jasmine in the Los Angeles Forest Crest area. She has the power to shape mountains with just the strength of her hands. The team knew they had to go about this strategically because they needed each power from these heroes to defeat these monstrous beings. They tried to gain an understanding by using Jade's telekinesis to get into Jasmine's mind before they all appeared, giving her fear of a threat. And Jasmine was also reluctant to the idea of this catastrophic event to come, because this universal war sounds almost like a kid's story or Hollywood movie to her. After getting a sense of urgency, desperation, and seemingly genuine intentions of not harming her, she complies to aid in the search for the other 2 heroes. Next, they were set out in search for Andrea. She has the power to create and manipulate fire. Andrea was a slightly selfish and manly, used her powers for self-gain because of her life growing up feeling like she was an outcast and no parental guidance. She was known by authority for petty theft around the areas like Calabasas. She was raised on the streets and received much streets intelligence to manipulate and con people out of their money. She used her fire to instill fear into those who resisted her manipulation or caught her stealing, leaving her with a criminal record from authorities. She wasn't known for harming others physically, unless she was being harmed first. She had some morals to not rob the poor and young. Most of her victims were wealthy people that she noticed being uncourteous to those around them, like the transients. She would follow them and clock them out, learning their routines to choose the best times to gain access to their homes, and info to rob them. Once the team of now 5 heroes seemed to reach an immense heated power coming from the area in which Andrea was resting after the search for shelter from the expected crash of the upcoming event. They found her in the Mojave near Tehachapi. She found these beautiful red rocks and created shelter around her with the plants and trees around. The team is now close enough for Jade to try to get into Andrea's mind to ask for help in this pursuit for peace in the universes. But this time, Andrea does not trust the team. Andrea already has trust issues from people in her past. She makes her mind so hot from anger from being found after her refuge from the upcoming event. Jade's connection to communicate grows weaker from the immense heat generated by Andrea. Everyone can feel the heat of Andrea's power growing as she becomes increasingly more angered by their presence, interrupting her solitude. She begins gathering her things and burns the shelter she created down to deter them from following her. They chase after her. Mika uses her power, putting out the fire on their way, and they finally trap Andrea between mountains that encompass them. She begins to fire up her body and has flaming balls hovering from her hands, pointing one hand at them, as a warning of what's to come if they come any closer. Jade, being well versed at bringing understanding in situations such as these, found it difficult to get Andrea to understand they are no threat to her. Andrea begins asking them to back off before she starts firing shots off at them. The team pleads that there is no need to fight, but Andrea is not taking any of the unfamiliar feelings that she senses lightly. Natahi takes one step closer to reach out to Andrea with an open hand. Andrea in fear of what Natahi is capable of, because Andrea is used to people running away in fear after showing her immense power. Andrea fires a shot at Natahi, and Natahi freezes up in fear of the attack, but before the fireball strikes Natahi, Mika thinks quick and instantly creates a thin wall of water from the moisture in the air right in front of Natahi, saving her from imminent danger of the severe burns that could have come from this power light being's attack. They step back a little to get ready for more attacks. Mika creates a dome-like barrier around Andrea before her next attack, and Natahi thinks quick freezing the water dome. Andre is trapped in a cold layer of ice that makes it hard to retain the heat she generally creates, leaving her cold and now powerless. Now with Andrea trapped, Jade explains the events to come in depth and how much they need her to defeat these reptile-like beings. Andrea agrees to comply with the team still angered for being bothered. Andrea asks to be left alone after she helps in this war. They agree no one has to stay if they do not choose to. They inform Andrea she has the choice to do whatever. They inform Andrea she is free to go at any time, but it will possibly end in a devastating event that will change the course of all universes. The more Andrea feels it's her decision, Andrea becomes less weary of the team being a threat. Andrea and the rest of the team set off in search for Maya. Maya has the ability to fly higher and faster than any jet plane created. She also is not very fond of having many friends or family that she is close to. So she travels the world gaining knowledge and tons of materials she keeps in hidden underground caves she didn't create, but found and made shelter inside, creating underground homes and structures to make up for her choice of solitude. Maya's abilities are hard to hide in the day, subjecting her to being seen and followed by men in black. Since Maya is well knowledgeable of the fears humans have of superhumans, she tries her best to throw off these men in black from her traces. She typically flies only at night, making it harder to be detected. Her underground caves help her maneuver and maintain her incognito status. Maya found caves that are deep under the Grand Canyon near Arizona. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to stay tuned for more impending situation from our Ascended Stardust Warriors.